So we've been training a lot on the system. And I'll just tell you something. I had people called me yesterday, last night, and actually this morning. I was rushing this morning to get ready for this because people were calling me, and these are people that are CEOs, even an EVC, and they were asking questions like, can we have your slide decks, or can we have this part of your system, or can you teach us this thing, right? And I just said, I could give you my stuff, but you're just chasing, trying to, because you're frustrated, right? And you're just trying to chase, like, who's going fast, or who's growing, or what's their slide deck, or what's Cash doing, or what's Fombo doing. That's not the answer. Okay. I'll just tell you right now, that's not the answer. Um, And my advice to these people was, you need to become a system builder. You need to be the leader that can teach your teams these things. You need to have a solid foundation of the fundamentals of building builders. And I can teach you that. Like, let's start. I'm like, you got to have patience, though. You got to be patient. It can't just be the next shiny thing, or what's their presentation, or what's their this or that. I mean, what's the contest that so and so is running, or the little gimmicky thing, or having so and so as a guest speaker. No, that's not. Those are all good things. Those are driving things. And everybody else I was just mentioning, they are drivers. They will drive their business because they're workers. And that's why they got to where they're at. But it's also why they're frustrated, because they didn't have the patience in the beginning to really become solid on the fundamentals of this business. And so my advice was to study a builder. Study the builder's mindset. I told him, go through my elite circle. I'm like, I have some of my CEOs in my elite circle right now. Why? Because there's been shifts in the system since we went from, regular Tuesday and Saturday live BPMs in offices to Zooms to, you know what I mean? Everything's faster now. And its changes can be hard. So I have all of them in there so that the fundamentals are sound. So please put in your notes, I want to be fundamentally sound, that I then, with confidence, can charge with my team. And I'm not second guessing myself. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, is so and so doing it different or better or whatever. No, no, you're going to understand how to win, but more importantly, how to help build builders. So this thing that you're building, this company that you're building as an entrepreneur, is on solid foundation, and that you have a business system that runs, whether you're driving it or not, really, because the tracks are already laid and it's so simple that anyone can come in, anyone can do it, anyone can become your superstar. But it also will produce people like Ed Milet, people like Cash Raston, but also someone like a Swan Wynn, but also a whole bunch of probably SMD type people that are making 100 grand a year. And they're solid, good people that you love to have in your business, and they're happy with just this income and lifestyle that they have. So I want to be this, universally appealing, mega solid, foundation that they can, like a rock that they can feel comfortable building their business and their life upon the way they want. But it's a system that if they do want to grab hold, they can go as far as they want to go. Like, again, building builders. Now, let me ask you a question. I'm going to get to the training in a second, but let me ask you a question. Would you rather, and put it in the chat, would you rather have someone who makes $3 million a year? Or would you rather have 10 people that make $300,000 a year? 10 people. Okay. So it's just a more solid business. Now, for me, I want the $3 million earner, the $10 million earner, the guy that's at 50,000, but believes he can get to 500,000. I want all of them. I want the producer, if that's what the model he wants to do. I love him and I will support whatever he needs from me. And then I will have the driver type guy that just is running in circles. I want to help him, but if he doesn't want to listen to me, I will just support him in the way he needs. Okay. That's just how I am. I'm going to challenge you. Now, there was a time, and some of you guys have been in my business a long time. So there was a time that I was a little more, my way or the highway. Okay. I'll just put it that way. Like that. I was a little like, this is the system, right? And you have to do it. And I'm, trying to fit everybody into my mold. And now I want you to be happy. I want you to have the family and the dream life that you envision. I'll continue to challenge you. I'll continue to challenge your thinking. But like that guy called me today and I said, look, like don't keep chasing and getting the results that you keep getting and keep getting frustrated. You're going to burn out. I'm like, you're doing well. You're at a, high title in the business. You're at, great income, better than you've ever been in your life. But why are you so frustrated, right? Because you're driving it. It's personality driven. I don't want a personality driven business. I want a system driven business. And I said, if you want to go study Swan's mindset, do it. If you want to go study Cash's system, go ahead, but you're going to have to change it next week too. Okay. So but what I want you to do is you become a student of this business, become a student of this type of entrepreneurship and build your solid foundation that your team can build upon. Okay. So we've gone through a lot of stuff the last few weeks. And let me see if I can share real quick. Yeah. All right. So we went through this system a few times now, but we've gone through deep on a few parts of the system. So we said, let me backtrack. Let me just go through, like, if you're an entrepreneur building a company, there's typically three phases of building a business. Okay. You have the beginning phases of marketing, right? Basically, how am I going to get clients, right? Marketing. How am I going to get my clients? And so in that marketing phase, there is prospecting, which we put in the chat. What is prospecting? Do you guys remember what prospecting is? When we went through deep into prospecting, what is it? Adding names to your list, name gathering, name building every day. Are you asking I went to a Christmas party at church last night and I got 2 names, right? Okay, so name gathering. And then the next part of that is contacting or inviting. Okay, and what was the most important part of contacting? Do you guys remember contacting? Put in the chat what you thought the most important parts of contacting were. Ideas? Booking an appointment, right? Invite, you're giving an invitation, not a presentation. It's to book an appointment to do a presentation. We talked a lot about, sometimes you got to follow up and keep contacting. We also talked about having a script, a simple script that works. And yet your people all use the same scripts. There's a hot market script. There's a variation for maybe more of a warm market. But then we also went through some cold prospecting, right? Okay, so this is so that you can build a company. If you don't have a steady stream of people coming in, then you'll never get it to be to build a company, right? So you have to figure, and that's what I love our company, because it has such a simple system that you don't have to go door knocking, that you don't have to go talk to friends and family and try to sell them stuff all the time. You don't have to open a storefront and put commercials on TV and spend a bunch of money. You don't have to do any of those things. We have a very simple system that's produced people like Ed Milet, Rich Thali, Jamie Villalobos, Swan Nguyen, Cash Raston, Hannah Hornstein, the Mockets, the Lagatudas, all by just, let's put a list together and let's contact it without, worrying about the outcome. We're not trying to sell. We're not trying to recruit. We're trying to expand, which is the next phase. Okay. So the next phase is expansion. I'm so messy. I'm using my finger. I do have a stylus right here, but okay. Expansion. Okay, so we have expansion here. And that is, there's two parts of expansion. Presentation. Okay. Presentation. So last time we got together, so we went through this, we went through a really deep how to add names every day. We went through lots of different ways to do that, even social media. Then we went through contacting him. Johanna Mockett remember when she went through that? Give an invitation, not a presentation. Stick to the prospect script. Make sure everybody is being contacted multiple times. And the whole point of these things is to get them in front of a presentation. So today, this has now come to a head where in the other room, virtual room, we have Dana and Mauricio giving the presentation. Okay. And I went through that in depth. So put in the chat, what were the key points of presentation? A lot of times you think it's step 3, obviously, the flip chart number 3. But what were some of the things that we talked about in presentation? You guys remember? DEET, yes, that we edify properly, that we talk, that the trainee gets on and talks about, let me tell you why we're on. It's, you know how you have always had this dream, or you've always wanted to have a bigger house with, so your mom can live and you can take care of your mom. I found a way for you to do that. And then the E, I've never been so excited. And then the takeaway, right? The takeaway of, I don't know if it's for you or not. It's okay if it isn't. At least you'll know what I'm doing. As I'm growing and expanding my business, you can possibly send me referrals. And then the edification. And oh my gosh, today I'm so happy because you are going to be with Andrew Farag. He's phenomenal. He's an entrepreneur growing across the country. He is a great husband and leader, and someone that I really respect in the way he has integrity and the way he helps others. And I'm so grateful that he's helping me. And he's the reason I'm going to be able to transition and have my own business. So you're edifying your trainer. So that DEET, okay? Then a simple presentation. We do step 1. At the end of step 1, we say this, or both. And we let the prospect lead. There is no pushiness. We do not close on the first visit. And the most important person in that appointment of the presentation is who? Is it the prospect? Is it me? Is it my money? Is it closing? It's the trainee, because I am what? Expanding my business. And so, yes, expansion is showing this new prospect what we do, but really it's I'm building my next entrepreneur. Think of a franchise. I'm the franchisor building my next location here, and he needs to be able to do what I do. So expansion is I'm getting the word of mouth out there. I'm showing this new prospect what we do, hopefully getting a new business partner, hopefully, creating a sale and helping a family. But really, I'm developing another outlet, another store, if you will, if I was or another restaurant, if I was a McDonald's or something. Does that make sense? So expansion. So there's 2 parts of expansion. There's presentation, and then there's what we're going to cover today, which is the startup. So again, we are entrepreneurs in business, and we are expanding across the country, across Canada. You are in expansion, and you are now looking for new business partners, franchisees, if you will. We're not a franchise, but I'm just trying to make a comparison here that this guy comes in, he learns our system, and now he is a location independent of you that you still get your franchise fees on. Does that make sense? So we have a business model that's very turnkey. So like if I were to buy a McDonald's for $5 million, that's what they go for now, I would have to go to Hamburger University. I would have to learn how many shakes of salt go on every batch of fries and exactly how to shake it. I'd have to learn how to arrange the pickles on the burger. I'd have to learn every aspect. But if I do it right, my McDonald's will thrive. I'll make a certain amount of money. I won't have to be involved in it. And I have an income stream that is pretty predictable. Okay. But that startup phase, okay, is that McDonald's you. Okay. So the presentation is step 1, which leads to either step 2 and getting a new recruit in AMA, or step 4, which leads to a FNA, right? Okay. Now, I haven't gone through any presentations. I haven't gone through step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually have been doing that at the ATM class on Thursday mornings. If you've missed it, I would ask your SMD for the links because then you'll see all the different presentations. I'm going through mindset so that you guys are all fundamentally strong. Okay? Because presentations could tweak. We could come out with new flip charts. We're coming out with a new fast start flip chart as part of this startup step here at Wealth Bowl. Those things could change, but the fundamentals don't of growing a business. And once you have this stuff down, you can go and build it as big as you want, as fast as you want. People are saying that ATM has been great. I appreciate that. It's been good. Okay. So then what's the last part? So we have the 3 phases: marketing, expansion, which is presentation and startup, which we're going to go over startup today. And I just want to go through the last phase here. It is duplication, or basically scaling. Scaling. How big do you want to do it? How fast do you want to grow it? Okay. And all that is now I take this new startup guy, this new guy, and bring him all the way back here and make a list and help him learn how to develop his prospect list so he never has to worry about where clients are going to come from. Help him contact that list over and over so he knows how to get a result. Help him learn how to do all the presentations and get new business partners, and help him to start up his own business partners and create his own business. And so basically what this is doing is you're just doing the same systems, same 3 phases over and over and over and over and over again, and just on repeat until what? Until you have, hold on, I'm going to get rid of that. Until you have repeated enough that this guy can go and get a result on his own. So what we call a field trainer. Then you can continue with that field trainer and help him develop his guys until you have what? An MD. And then you can teach him these same fundamental mindsets and do it a few more times. And now you have an SMD. And now you have a completely independent outlet. And if that guy is aggressive and, and he's ambitious, he can go and he can become an SEVC because it's all the same skills. Okay. So this is just the fundamentals. This is how you build this business. And those are those 3 phases. So let's go jump into startup now. Okay. So the keys of startup are, now we have this new guy. I did my presentation. He wanted to do the business, and now I did his AMA. Okay. The key to having the startup, or the fast start, is what it's referred to a lot as far as the presentation goes. The flip chart, step 3 flip chart, is called fast start. Okay. But startup, think about it's, again, you're starting up your new franchisee's business or your new entrepreneur's startup. It's a startup company. You're helping a startup company that you are now overseeing. Okay. You're the parent company. Okay. So the first thing that you want to do with them is that you want to do this step, this phase, this startup phase, this fast start, step 3 fast start. You want to do it within 24 hours to 48 hours of the AMA. Okay. So really what happens, you guys, I see my earrings dangling. They're little snowmen, aren't they cute? Daisy got them for me. But okay, so you have this new guy and he's coming aboard. Obviously, he saw something in the presentation that intrigued him, that he wanted a better life. Maybe in that DEET, when his buddy said, hey, you know how you've always wanted to have more time with your kids and you hate your boss? I found a way for you to get out of that. Maybe that touched him here and him here, that he says, yes, I'm going to give this a shot. So he's excited, he's intrigued, but he also has life happening. He has kids that he has to drop off at the wrestling match. He has, a spouse that maybe is like, we already have too much on our plate. We can't even pay our bills. What are you thinking? Like, he has all the other stuff. Okay. So it's very important that the startup, or the step 3 fast start appointment, is done within 24 hours to 48 hours from the AMA. So let's say I just completed your AMA in step 3, or the presentation, right? sorry, the presentation part. Um, we just did that. We just did your AMA. So I would say something like, okay, Joe, so it's really important that we get together in the next 24 hours or so that I can teach you what we do. Because I know you don't really even know what we do, right? I'll teach you what, like, really what we do for families, how we help families, how we make money. Let's get together in the next 24 hours. That's how I'm going to present it. If he says, "Oh my gosh, I can't. I have this. I work till midnight tomorrow." 48 hours max, okay? Then I'll say, "Okay, how about we get together at least on your lunch break tomorrow for 30 minutes?" Okay? I'm just trying to get the startup going because I know he's going to have something called scenario of disaster. It could be that someone at work says he's excited, and maybe it's someone at work he's talking to and like, "Oh yeah, I know that company. My cousin did it. It sucks. She didn't make any money." Okay? Or it could be the spouse says, "You already don't spend enough time with us. We work too much as it is. We can't have another thing on our plate." Or could be a parent, like it was for me, that said, "You have a good job. That sounds like a scam, Jamie. How do you even know these people?" And so, it's called scenario of disaster. They're enthusiastic because they just got the dream sold to them. They try to tell people, they explain it wrong. This other person may be jumping to conclusions, thinking it's like some MLM thing or something that it's not. And then it's shut down. And now they're very discouraged. It doesn't feel good. This new venture doesn't feel good. So it's important that you are with them in the next 24 hours, counteracting any type of negative communication, but also keeping them fired up and excited. Okay. So what we're going to do is within 24 hours, hopefully, I'll say, "Hey, what do you have tonight or tomorrow?" 48 hours max. We're going to get on, and it can be virtual or it could be in their home with their wife. I would love to meet the wife, whether it's virtual or in the home, in that appointment if possible. Now, let's say the wife's traveling. She's at her mom's house in New York, and you're meeting with your new trainee for this fast start appointment in California. And so you can ask, like, "I'd love to meet your wife and maybe answer a couple of her questions. Can she jump on maybe via FaceTime or something right now?" Okay. So meeting the spouse is a great part to induct into your fast start. Okay. And the starting up of your new agent. If they were buying a McDonald's, do you think the wife would be in the know? Of course they would. If they were opening a karate studio and the wife does not know anything about karate, do you think she'd be in the know of exactly how much profit they intend to make, how much this money is going to be invested? Of course she would. Okay. So you leaving her out of this is doing him a disadvantage, but also you being able to build this guy. Okay. So if you can meet the spouse, "Hi, I'm Jamie. My husband Sean and I are in the business together 25 years now. I've heard wonderful things about you. I just want to give you my number in case you have any questions." At the very least, that it could be that you do a whole step one again for her and answer her questions. That would be ideal. But but at the very least, that she sees, okay, this lady Jamie that's talking to my husband tonight is not a, whatever. Okay. So that you're starting to build the relationship. Okay. Now let's jump into that fast start. Okay. What's the key points of fast start? One is we're going to talk about their goals and their whys. Okay. So I did that a little bit in my presentation appointment, in my recruiting appointment, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to go now into more depth. I may say something like, "You know what? I've been in this business 25 years. The things that I saw when I came in was freedom, time freedom. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have a place where I could work that I felt good about it and I was helping people. But more importantly, I wanted control of my time. So I want to be able to put my family and my faith first." And then when I got here, I loved the environment and the people and how supportive everybody was. And so do you see how I'm like selling the dream? Then I may say, "So what were some of your reasons like that, like you were deciding to give entrepreneurship a shot?" Right. And so as I'm going through, like, look, people that are super successful in business typically have big whys. Once I discovered those, really is when my business took off. Mine were, I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I grew up in, poverty in Montana, and I watched sometimes where we couldn't afford heat in the trailer and, 30 below weather and, trying to get my little sisters ready for school and could see my breath. And it was scary. I didn't want that unpredictability and that stress over finances in my home. I watched my parents go through divorce, arguing about money. So I wanted that, but I also wanted to help my sisters and provide, a better example of doesn't matter where we came from, it's where we want to go. I also want to retire my dad. But what are some of yours? What are some of your biggest whys of why you would really want to win big in this business? And then I just shut up and I listen. It's really about 80% listening and only 20% talking in the fast start appointment. It's you're becoming a friend, you're developing a relationship, but you're also developing this coach and mentee dynamic. Okay. And that takes a lot of listening. So it's goals, dreams, whys. Okay. Once you have the goals, dreams, whys, right? And they say, well, it's this, it's this, it's this. Okay. Of those, what's your why? Like, what's the most important? What's the one thing, right? And it's like, oh, I want to help my mom. I want to retire my mom. Dig deeper on that one. Why is that important? What's that look like? Oh, it's buying her a home. She struggled. She still works. I want to get her out of that job. That boss treats her bad. And okay, that's so goals, dreams, whys. Those are the things. That's the first step. Okay. Once we've done that, then we can say, okay, I want to help you with that. And I know this business can get you that. So let's say I'm sitting in front of someone who is a flight attendant for Delta. After I go over her goals, dreams, and whys, and she wants to retire her dad, then I may say, you know what? There's another lady in the company that has the same background as you. She's a multiple seven-figure earner. Her name is Marcy Bohobiak. Or let's say they were in construction. I'll say, you know what? I know you can have those things because there's another guy in this business named Monty Home who's a multiple high seven-figure earner and has built seven-figure earners. And he has the same similar story as you. Okay. So if you can relate it to someone in the business, tell my story. If let's say they have no background in financial services, that's almost everybody that you recruit. And you just say, you know what? I know you can do that. I know you can get that dream house in Pasadena. You know why? Because my mentor, Jamie, she grew up in a trailer in Montana in poverty and had nothing, grew up on food stamps and welfare. She worked in a gym when they found her in this business. She was 22 years old and worked in a gym, and she had zero background in financial stuff, never graduated college, and she makes over $3.5 million a year and helps so many people. And she's just like a really nice family woman, right? That loves helping people, just like you. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you try Rocky Shi with all his Chinese like people that are like Rocky's team is like very intellectual. They all have like master's degrees and all this stuff. And guess whose story he tells? Jamie. If Jamie can do it, you can do it. Right? So like I love that. Okay. Once you've done that though, once you've done that work with them, that's really important work. Then you can go into challenging them. And you may say something like this. I'm going to help you get that. Can I ask you a question? For you to be able to retire your mom and, do those things that you want for your kids, do you want strong leadership from me or weak leadership? Like, do you want to just kind of go at your own pace and come to meetings? Or would you like me to help you and challenge you and give you clear, concise directions and push you along the way? Do you want strong leadership or weak leadership? They're always going to say what? They're going to say strong. They're going to say strong leadership. Okay. So that's it. So now once you've gone over their whys, asked, is it okay? Get permission for them to give you strong leadership. Now it's the next phase of instruction. It's instruction, right? So what is it? Some of the instruction, how to submit their licensing. That's an instruction or a challenge. Let's get you licensed in 2 weeks. So I'll say, look, most people get licensed in 2 weeks. Some of them will do it in a week. Honestly, it's easy. Even people with English as their second language are passing in 2 weeks. So let's get you at least your stuff submitted and see what the test dates look like. Now, if you get licensed in 2 weeks and we help start expanding into your business for you, you can actually get promoted all the way up to an associate promotion, which means 40% more pay once you're licensed, which means getting you that stuff that you wanted faster and quitting your job faster. Does that make sense? So we want to get the licensing booked. Boom. Okay, licensing's done. Okay, now we have this Fast Start School coming up next week or whenever it's coming up. Jamie wants you get your basic training done within 7 days, in 1 week. So what is that? We need to do the financial education, right? Pretty easy. And start your market expansion. Simple. You can do it probably in a day. Okay. Licensing might take 2 weeks, but this stuff can get done in a week. No problem. Okay. And then if you can get that done, not only you can go to Fast Start School, but we're going to tell Johanna about you. We're going to tell Paul how you were a fast start and get you more time in front of him as a mentor, not just me. So you leverage your SMD. If you do this, if you get into Fast Start School, right? So it's very important. The key point is getting them off to a fast start. If prospecting was what? Name gathering, adding names. If contacting was what? Booking an appointment. If presentation was what? Sell the dream and move them into a decision making of coming on board. Okay, the fast start is to get them off to a fast start and qualify for that Fast Start School. That is your holy freaking grail, okay? Fast Start School. So I would say, am I doing things right in this business? Is there a reason why my business isn't growing? Well, number one, do you have anybody in the BPM right now? Because it's great that you're learning from me, but to grow your company, you should have people in with Dana and Mauricio. So you got to do those first few steps and have people in the presentation. But then once they're in the presentation, it does not matter how many calls you made, how many presentations you made, how many recruits you got, how many sales you got. It's at the end of the month, how many new people do you have in Fast Start? That's if you know if you're growing or you're dying. That's what I'm obsessed with. I want people in that Fast Start School. All of this stuff is like a filtering system to go into this filter here to get my little golden nugget. It's like if you're panning for gold, like, have you ever seen those things that the kids, like where they do the mining things at like Knott's Berry Farm or, the fair or whatever, and they give them the bag of dirt and they put them on the the little filtering thing, and they're panning for gold, and then they find their little gem. That's what this is. The gem, the person I can build, the person I can challenge, the person I'm going to really spend my time with. My new Fast Start qualifier. So I'm going to give you something right now. And this is the mindset of a builder, the foundational principle of building. They're either a fast start or they're nobody. And that's harsh, but it's reality. They're either a fast start, like they went to Fast Start School, or they're filtered out. Okay. So not everybody's going to be coachable. If they don't filter out, they can still become clients. We can still help that family. But I want to get high volume of prospecting. Talk to everybody. Get names everywhere. Get referrals, social, everywhere. Names. And then invite everybody. Stop caring about what people think. They need you. They are praying for you. Stop being a pansy and freaking call them. Okay. Then get them to the presentation. Got to follow up sometimes. Remember Adewale talking about how he was following up? He got like 10 recruits because he's following up, finally getting them to a presentation. And they're like, oh my gosh, I need this. Right? Told you so. But then don't stop there. Now we got to filter them through this Fast Start process to find the gold. Okay. So we got to get to know them. What's your goals? What's your dreams? It doesn't take as long as it sounds. Okay. Then we say, okay, do you want strong leadership or weak leadership? I want strong. Great. Okay, so here's our next steps. We've got to get your license. Takes less than 2 weeks. Let's get that test date booked. More importantly, though, Fast Start School. Okay, so I want you to have a mindset thing around Fast Start School. Okay, Fast Start School is like the wedding day. Everything leading up to the wedding day is like the courtship, right? You see a pretty girl, right? And you start to flirt or whatever, right? That's your prospecting. And then you invite them, you start dating, right? Let's say you fall in love and now you're at the wedding day. Fast Start School's that wedding day. Imagine if that's the part that you forgot to show up to. Okay, that's the part. That's basically what's happening. You're getting all these peoples coming in and you're excited about them. And, ooh, I have this new recruit. I'm all in love, right? But then you leave them at the freaking altar. And then you say, okay, go to training. Okay, go get licensed. Okay, go invite. No, no. Marry them, okay? Marry them and then help them to start up their own entrepreneurial business, okay? So, what are the things that we're going to challenge them for? Licensing, which is a small part of it. More importantly, Fast Start School. How do you qualify for Fast Start School? Well, we're going to do your financial strategy, the financial education piece today, which is step 4. If you're thinking flip charts, we're going to move into step 4 today in that Fast Start appointment. Okay. What else are we going to do? We're going to start your marketing expansion. Okay. So I know it's kind of, you don't really know what you're doing, but we got to start getting the word of mouth out there. We got to start showing people what you do. I want by the time you're licensed in 2 weeks to have some experience under your belt so that you have some confidence. And more importantly, that you have some people to talk to because your warm market is very limited. You only know so many friends and family. And by the way, you used to work in a gym. Do they look to you as a financial advisor? Do they think that you're the one that's going to help them invest their money? Probably not. But they may be your aunt, your uncle, your mom, your dad. They love you. They want to help you, but they might necessarily want you to be their financial advisor. Some of them might not want you to know how broke they are or how rich they are. Okay. So instead, this very limited known market of friends and family, instead of going to try to sell them something or, recruit them, they're a tougher recruit anyways because they don't listen to you. Instead, we're going to use them for practice, show them what you do, kind of like how we did with you, right? And then by the time you're licensed in 2 weeks, that practice, you know what you're doing and you're licensed. And that these people will hopefully then refer you to people. So you have an unlimited, getting into unknown, unlimited markets. Okay. So you got to earn the right to ask for names. If you just ask for names, think about it. When you were new and they asked for names, was that comfortable? It wasn't. Were you skeptical? Yes. Did you wonder why they're asking me for names? Are they trying to sell my people something? You might have thought, I won't have anybody to talk to if I give good names. I'm going to run out of people. Trust issues, maybe red flags went up with trust, all these things. So you have to earn the right to get names from people. Okay. Explain it. Here's what happened with me. Here's what I did. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know very few people. I had moved to California. And they said we, should create a list of a few people to talk to and start getting the word of mouth out there. Now, you're not even licensed yet, so we're not even trying to make a sale, but we're trying to now help you expand, start up your business and help you market and help you expand, okay? And help you learn so that you can run a business on your own, okay? So I was very kind of worried about that, but luckily I had a great trainer, and all we did is we went out, we showed my mom and my stepdad what we did. I learned so much on those appointments. My first 5 appointments, the first time I went out, I was like, I tell this story every Fast Start, just so you guys know. Be relatable. Make it easy for them to work with you. Okay. But I tell the story every time. You can borrow mine. You can tell mine. You can say, Jamie, when Jamie started, you can do that. Okay. Or you use your own or your SMDs or whatever. But I said, I went out the first time in the field with my trainer, with my mom and my stepdad, and I watched, in 45 minutes, lives changed. No other company would have helped them. And I thought, oh my gosh, that was awesome. And I love what we do. And it went from here to here. But I also thought, gosh, I don't know if I could be as good as John. But by the 5th time in the field, I knew I could do this. I even told John, I said, John, I could probably do it better than you because you're so corny with all your jokes and I could probably just relate better to people. And I said, I'm quitting my job and going full time. So I went full time in a month and a half. Why? Because I went in the field. Now, did I care if they became a client or whatever? Hey, if they come aboard, it helps me. It's in my business. If they become a client, great. It helps me get promoted. I was just there to soak it up and learn. And so I want you to have zero stress over this and just be excited about you starting your own business and retiring your mom soon. Okay. So I want you to be thinking real quick of the top 5, 10 people, because we need to see 3 for you to get into Fast Start School. We need to do 3 appointments. Now, you may say, this is awesome. I'm learning so much. I'm going to do 20. Fine. Do whatever you want. But we need to see 3 to get you signed off to go to Fast Start School. We'll do your financial strategy today, but we need to see 3 appointments, and we want to try to get those done in your first week. Okay. Now, you may want to see more, but I would probably caution you to just pass that test so we can get paid. Okay. But let's call about 5 to 10 to get those 3 books so we make sure that no matter what, I can tell Dana that you're in Fast Start School next week. Sound good? Okay. All right. Who are the 5 to 10? And I get the 5 to 10 names. I say, who are your top 3? Who do you have trust with that would probably give you referrals? Who do you think, right? Ask a few qualifying questions. And then we move into financial education. And we do the financial education, or sometimes you may feel like the financial education step 4 is more appropriate to do first, and that's totally your judgment call. If they know nothing about what we do and there's not enough rapport there to just be giving you names, but here's the deal. Phone calls need to be made. Okay, phone calls need to be made. And so the Fast Start is not just a step 3. It's not just a presentation. It's a mindset and it's a process. And you have 7 days to run this process. So within 7 days, your goal is to get them to become a Fast Start or they're a nobody. And I promise you, like when I say nobody, that means they are going to quit. They filter themselves out. So if it's your fault that they're not becoming a Fast Start because you're slow, or you're scared to challenge, or you're a pansy to make phone calls with them or ask for names, that's why your business isn't growing. Now, are they naturally going to be excited and give you names? No, it's human nature. Think of how you were. Good thing you had good leaders that helped you through that hump and held your hand, that uncomfortable spot of making phone calls. Put in the chat what you think is the hot spot of our entire system. I laid out the system a few minutes ago. What's the hot spot? What's the scary spot? What's the make it or break it part of our system? What's the hard part? Phone calls. Yes, making calls. Yeah, calls. Okay. So understand, if you feel like it's hard, the new person really is panicking and freaking out inside. Okay. So this is your job to make it easy. Tell those stories. Like, look, I want to help you and watch you. It could be a text on the first one. Of these 10, who is the one that you're not afraid to call? Mom? Let's call mom. Let's role play. So you role play the project script with the hot market and you book, I would say 5, because they have to do 3 to get into Fast Start School. Now, to get into Fast Start School, they don't have to get a bunch of recruits. They just have to see 3 appointments or get a 1 recruit. So if they do 1 appointment and get 1 recruit, that counts. Do you guys know that? If they do 1 appointment and that ends up in a recruit, that's their 1. They're qualified as long as they do their financial strategy. So the 117 is the qualification for Fast Start, meaning the 1 is his sale. The new prospect becomes a client. The client is the 1. I become a client. The other 1 is I get a recruit. Now, if they do 3 appointments and you don't get them a recruit, that's not their fault. That's your fault. For 3 appointments, you should be able to get a recruit for this guy. If you're a builder aiming at recruit instead of a producer aiming at, I don't know what you're doing in the field. Okay. Presenting to present, presenting to make money, presenting to make a client. You know what I mean? If you're a producer mindset, that's your fault. If he does 3 appointments with you and he's a client, he should go to Fast Start School. Okay. So that's it. That's it. Like, your job in that startup is to start the guy right. So let's say McDonald's has a guy that says, here's $5 million. I want to get started. I'm ready to go. They say, okay, great. Give me your money. Give me your money. You have to go get all this certifications for your McDonald's in Nashville. And then when you're done with that, let me know. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with my certifications. Cool. All right. Now, here's the menu. Go do it. Go hire people. Do you think that would work? No. So the equivalent of this is, let's say I have a McDonald's and in a month from now, it's open for business. I'll have all my certifications out of the way. In this month, I need to learn this system from someone who knows what they're doing it. That's the Hamburger U. That's the fast start process. They need to see appointments. Okay. They need to see these couple appointments. They need to go to fast start school and, fast start like university. Okay. They're going to learn about how to get promoted and they're going to learn how to run our system. They're going to learn how to help families. They're going to learn that in fast start school. Okay. So now it's the equivalent of, would you rather have a McDonald's that's open and you have to go try to hire, train, and run this? Do you think it would work if we just said, okay, go, and you can come up and you can show up to the virtual trainings and you'll learn it over time? Do you think that McDonald's will survive? It's not gonna work. So you have those basically 30-day period. The first 7 days is the most critical. First 7 days is scenario disaster. First 7 days, he gets over his fear of contacting. First 7 days, he's fired up about his dreams and goals. That's your job. You are the leader. The leader now takes the new startup and guides them back up to prospecting, guides them back up to contacting, guides them back up to presentation. In those 7 days, he goes to fast start school. Now I have someone I can build through all that filtering and inviting and prospecting and presenting and all of that. Don't get too excited about a recruit. A recruit's not a recruit until it has a recruit. And so if you can get that recruit for them in the 7 days, the 117, now you have someone that can get off to a fast start. Now, let's say I have a bunch of volume and I get a bunch of people that month that do this. I got a bunch of people that go into fast start school, not just one, not onesie twosies. I'm a builder, right? So I got 20 recruits in my base because I prospected 100 through lists. I have 4 people on my team with the top 25 and I help them call them. So we contacted 100 people. This many show to the presentation, this many get fast started, and then this many, however many it is, goes to fast start school. And now those are the guys that I go take back up and do it over and over and over again to build my trainer. First, help them to be able to do it on their own, get a result on their own. That's a 100 million club. Then help them be able to do it consistently. That's my trainer, my junior trainer. And then he can help others build because he's a trainer now and he becomes an MD and then SMD and then, ring earners, right? And that's all it is. There's nothing else to the system. But if you are casual on name gathering, you're not going to have enough volume. If you're casual and scared of calling or making your people call, nothing's getting off the ground. You're not plugging people into some presentation every week, whether that's the live one right now with Dana and Mauricio or a one-on-one that you have let's say Pamela's your SMD and you're putting people in front of her and Lewis to go do the presentation for you to build your company. Or whether you're just having them plug into Sean's pre-recorded Zoom link or it's not even a Zoom, it's a web jam of the presentation. You have lots and lots and lots of tools. You could have hundreds of people going into this system, but you, the builder, that fast start, that's what I got good at. That's what you got to get good at. You got to get good at that. If that's the one thing that you're mastering, that you now can take this new guy, this AMA, through him doing his F&A and becoming a client, that's the financial education, he needs to become a client, and help him make some phone calls and get him a recruit. That one in 7 days. Now, if he doesn't do it in 7 days, I still want him to do it. If it's 8 days or 22 days, I still want him to do it. I still want all my people to become clients. If they are not a client, I cannot build them. Okay? Just like if you don't have a license, you can't make money. If you're not a client, you can't be built. That might sound harsh too, but I'm just teaching you how to win because I want you to win. But if you're not a client, if you're not a product of the product, let's say, If you're not a client, then you have a hard time fast starting people. You have a hard time building anybody. It's true. I want to become a client when I'm new, and I want to own a big one. Because why? Monkey see, monkey do. Everything is about duplication of these steps. So if I skip a step, right? There's no shortcuts. No shortcuts. So I'm going to help my guys to get into a product or a financial plan that's good for them and their family, so that they can say, I joined, I own the product, I'm so excited how they helped me, and I feel very confident going back up to step one and prospecting and talking to other people about it too. If that step is missed and they say, can I just wait till I'm licensed? No, that's a filtering out. I don't want them to be filtered out. I want them to help them build. I want them to be someone, not nobody. Okay. So you understand that this follow-up stuff is very, very much about mindset. Mindset. Now, once they've gotten through those 7 days and they've become a client and we've done 3 appointments, congratulations, you're going to Fast Start School. Make sure you get them into that Fast Start School. There's other tools that help you get these things done, like the ABCs class. All new people should see the ABCs class and the orientation. By the way, I'm re-recording today a new orientation. It'll be a little bit more updated. But the ABCs class, so they can see how we help families. That helps them, it helps you in facilitating them becoming a client. They need to, which is important for them. Every new recruit that comes into my base shop, I'm obsessed on making them a client. Do you think it's because I need this little $200 IUL sale? I make $250,000 a month if I do nothing, you guys. I don't need their little term policy written for my financial gain, okay? This is for them to be able to launch in startup. Failure to launch if they don't become a client. Failure to launch if they don't give you a list. Failure to launch if you don't do 3 appointments. Failure to launch if they don't get a recruit pretty soon. You're so obsessed with licensing. Of course, licensing. But you guys, please write in your notes. Any dum-dum can pass a test. It's like eating lunch. You just freaking do it. You just eat it. And you're on to your next project. Licensing is, but building and doing it right from the very beginning and laying a solid foundation for this guy's startup to have a successful business, that's more important. 117 is the most important part of the startup. Okay. Once I did that first week, and I'm obsessed in that first week, and you're not a boss. You can't sound like a boss. You are a coach. You are a leader. You are helping them. And it really should be the right intentions of helping them build and start up. And once you've done that, then what's the focus? Pass that test in 2 weeks. Let's get that promotion knocked out. Let's get you full-time, right? Then let's say they pass their test. We got to get them appointed. That's all admin, boring crap, but yeah, got to get it done. Okay. But what's really, really important once they pass their test? Them making money. So now we have a second part of the startup here of taking the licensed person and starting. And so if, let's say Paul Vorwaller is my new recruit that just passed the test, he's fired up because he has a team already growing because he had given me 10 names and we recruited 3 people. And you know what I mean? He's ready to go. And I say, Paul, now let's get you making some money. Let's get you appointed, get all that stuff in the process. But now we're going to really think like entrepreneurs and let's sit down and do a business plan for you to win. What do we do in this business plan? We go through the marketing expansion. We develop through a memory joggers and, you know, brainstorming and kind of thinking about all the different places he could possibly have markets, like college buddies, Paul, church buddies, Paul, people that you served with in the community, Paul, you know, family members, Paul, people that look up to you, people that you have mentored in the past. What are all your markets, Paul? And we create at least 100 names. Have you even done this for yourself, you guys? But 100 names at least. And then we narrow it down to 30 or at least 25 top 25 names. And we together call it. By the end of this little list calling session, this guy knows how to get results on the phone. He's done it. He's watched me do it. We've done it together, and he is confident. He's lined up with a bunch of appointments. and we're going to go and we're going to field train him back to back. There's a difference if now Paul's licensed and I say, invite, bring some guests, book any appointments. I'll do them anytime. Just text me the time and I'll be there. And he books one appointment a week for 12 months. There's a difference. Or if he and I go out and do 6, 7 appointments this week, he's much faster to field trainer in 6 or 7 appointments versus appointment a week for a year. Promise. Fast, rapid repetition of these 6 simple steps, where now it's 3 really simple steps, leads to an inevitable explosion. Rapid, so quickly on all of the startup. That's what we call it, fast start, right? Same thing with now that they're licensed, fast, let's get their list, fast, let's get in the field. Can we do 6 or 7 or 8 appointments and have a goal? Your goal is at minimum to get them $1,000, which means that you need to close at least 3 to 4 sales right away, their first month. To close 3 to 4, you better call the top 25 with them, okay? But more importantly, what if you had a goal, not just to make a net license, not just to get them $1,000, but to get them, let's say, 30,000 points or 25,000 points? Aha. Or to get them 10, 10, 30. If they did 25,000 points and 10, 10, 30, I would give them a senior associate promotion, even though we don't do that promotion. Because I'm looking for the next of my gold. Who's my diamond? Okay. Who's the best, right? Who's that one? And now you've built a trainer within basically a month and a half period. You wonder why people take off. Do you think, oh, it's because they have a better market? Oh, it's because the leader spends more time with them. Oh, it's because excuses. No, it's because they were fast started properly. And it sets the pace for their whole career. And when you do it for them, that's how they learn to do it. And that's how they'll do it for their team. If you cut corners, if you pansy out on making phone calls, if you don't challenge them, if you don't care, if you leave them at the altar on the wedding day, that's what they're going to do with their team, because that's how they were taught. Make sense? Okay. So I'm going to have, just like maybe a minute or 2 from each of these people. I wanted you guys to hear from them. Rusty, Israel, and Pamela. Is Israel still on? I know Israel's doing a live event right now. He just had to jump to one. Oh, he's there. Okay. Israel, why don't you go first? You don't have audio? Can you unmute Israel, Neil?
You should be able to unmute now.
Yeah. Okay, now I can. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll be quick. I mean, Jamie, as I'm like listening to everything she's covering, the people that I've done that with, they stick. The people that we don't do that with, they don't. And I wish it was more complicated than that. She said that's really all you need to do. There's a lot packed in there. But when you listen to Jamie and like you watch her do these things, the people that she built, there's a reason why they go and duplicate that, right? And so I've been rushed to just move on and kind of just move forward and maybe not do all these things and spend time with people and try to go to the next person. And so I think that's a mistake that we as leaders have, trying to rush to the next thing. I think it's best to have more trainers and be able to do it right with the few people that you want to take on. And so you can be back to back as an S&D. Jamie actually has recommended that we do all the fast starts in our base show because we're like the master copy, right? And so that's what we're doing now. We're kind of pulling it back, making sure that they're getting it from the master copy. And so one of the things that I will tell you that Jamie coached me on just recently at Tennessee, she said, look, you can't let them go too early. And so sometimes you feel like your people are doing the right thing, but spot check them. As an S&D or as an MD, right, you want to make sure that you're duplicating you and they're not basically taking off and not getting any results. And a fast start is not a fast start until you actually book an appointment. And so make sure that you have that as a rule. do not end the fast start unless they book appointments. What we're starting to do too is a lot of texting too. And so as opposed to only phone calls, so you do both, you do the phone calls and the texting in the fast start, but you make sure that at least they leave with 1, 2, 3, 5, ideally 10, the most you can, but at least some activity. Because if you don't have something booked to meet with them the next time,
Yeah.
they're going to be dead. So you have to set up a time to meet with them again. Ideally, it's not just the onboarding, it's another appointment, because then you can turn around and give the person that their leader good news. So it starts compounding and retaining the leg. So you work with the lowest person on the leg, you get them results, and then you report all the way up to the top of that leg and get everybody excited. So that's my 2 cents, Jamie. Thank you. You covered a ton. And so I appreciate you doing that
Yeah.
for our guys.
And you're welcome. I would just say I did go over a ton, but it's mindset mostly. Okay. We will be giving you guys a flip chart, to front and back flip chart, that you can do basically everything I just did, just step by step. You won't even have to use that PowerPoint anymore, because it's just boom, 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 boom. Real simple. Go ahead, Pamela.
Hey guys, awesome. That was so good. Thank you, Jamie, for doing that. Just a couple things that maybe weren't covered that have helped us with the results of the fast start and getting those appointments booked is make sure you're scheduling fast start appointments at a decent hour that you know people are more than likely going to be able to answer the phone. So we schedule fast starts like lunch hours, you know, between PST and EST time. And then, you know, after, you know, they settle with their kids and they eat dinner. So don't book a fast start at like 7 a.m. or book a fast start at like 9 p.m. at night, because then people aren't going to answer the phone and respond to text. So that's really key. So usually between like 12 and 8 p.m. we're booked back to back to back with fast start appointments, since our team's all over the country. Second thing is, if you want growth in your business, right? Who wants growth and who wants to scale their business, then you do have to do a proper fast start. So if you don't have a proper fast start, or you have a no start, that's probably why you're not having any growth. And if you don't have any growth, then you won't be able to build a company. And so the key to the fast start also gives you that compounding growth that we all want. And what do we want to compound fast, right? Like the rule of 72. Do you want the slow or the no would be like the 1%, you know, interest rate, right? So if you want that double digit, that fast growth, then look at one of the things we did last year was we wanted to get into double digit recruiting. And now our goal is to get into triple digit recruiting. So look at your tracker and see, you know, if this is your new recruit start date, and this is the day that you fast started them, right? Look at how long it's taking you between getting that AMA and actually doing that fast start. So if your fast start date for you, let's say you're an associate in somebody's base shop, is 5 to 7 days, right? Or even worse, longer before you're getting into that step 3, then you have to shorten that time frame, right? So I look at, okay, here's day 1, you want the step 3 to be done 24 to 48 hours. So that's your deadline, guys. Like you got to treat that as a deadline so that you can get the results of everything else. So take a look at your business, and then I see where that hole is, and then, you know, bring that closer together. And then like Jamie said, you know, people are scared of the phones, right? Unless you came into this business where you were used to being on the phones, maybe you were in a sales position, maybe you're used to making phone calls, or you had a previous career where it was just making calls to strangers was very easy for you. It's probably going to be that you're scared, right? Your new associates are fearful of doing anything. And why? Because human nature is just, you don't want change. You don't want to do anything different. And they have all these crazy thoughts. So if you are the person doing that fast start appointment, it's very important that you're in the right state of mind, that you are excited, that you are fired up, and that you're transferring the right energy into that new associate to kind of reduce and remove all those barriers and those fears. My husband is so good at this. his office is right next to the room where I'm usually with our daughter, and I'll just be hearing him like being the best cheerleader, just like fired up, like next one, let's go. That was awesome. Right. And like pump up your associate so they can be excited to make more calls. And the first skill that we need to transfer is to get people to master the invitation, right? Before you can get into them being good at the step 1 and the 2 and the 4 and the 5 and all of that, you're trying to scale your company. So while you're doing appointments, you need your new associates out there excited to get new names and give you names to book more appointments, right? So, drill that script if you need to, however long it takes, right? But keep drilling it and then keep talking about getting new names and getting that activity, right? Because that is their role. And then also if you're an SMD or you're someone who's on a run for SMD, like you want your best guy or gal really doing that step 3. Like I think it's the most crucial step of all the steps. If you're like, I'm not really good at it, then maybe you need to shadow and watch somebody else do it until you feel 100% confident about it. Because if it's the wrong person doing the fast start, that's going to cost you identifying leaders, right? Like we're all looking to find rabbits. We're looking to find our SMDs, our CEOs, right? Those that want to run with us. And we're going to find who that person is in the beginning in that fast start appointment. And then last thing, a strategy that we kind of have is we like to have like let's say you have a new trainee who's, I don't know, they're timid or something like that. Find somebody in your team that is winning right now and who maybe had those same scared thoughts or whatever. Yeah. And you can have them jump onto that fast start appointment so that there's some commonality, and you can have somebody else also edifying you and going, hey, I felt the same way you did, but I've been in the business 2-3 months now, and now I'm getting ready to go full time, right? I'm making now $3,000-$4,000 last month. And you have that. So it's got some support so that the system works. Because usually in those first 7 days, they haven't really met anybody yet. They don't understand. They haven't been on a Zoom call like this to see, wow, there's 600 people on a Saturday morning. And so that's one of the things that we do. And I think really makes a big difference.
I think that's so good. And how Israel and Pamela were saying, like, someone strong should be the fast start. Really what we're saying is someone that can sell the dream and challenge people the right way, right? And so again, it's okay that you're having someone else do those. Let's say you're good at closing sales and you're good at recruiting, but maybe the fast start you need someone else to do. That's okay. That's totally normal. And maybe it's something that's making you nervous. But I would caution you that you are in those as a trainee. So I will find a lot of times that people have seen a lot of step 1s and a lot of step 4s and even a lot of step 5s. Like they've seen closing appointments and recruiting appointments, but they have not been sitting in on enough